But this Facebook Live video is about how to be your authentic self in a difficult relationship. Okay, so earlier today I put on my Facebook feed, what's your definition of a difficult relationship? I got some responses, and ones that are stuck, that you can't communicate or you have different values. And then also I asked the question, what does authentic self mean to you? And I'm going to give you my definition of what an authentic self is. My definition is that we all, we have this very narrow and this just a small portion of ourself that we know, because there's so much more to us. There's a bigger story, but a lot of times that small story is one that is negative. It's negative toward ourselves and toward other people. So an authentic self is widening that perspective about the good, bad, and ugly of our lives, but mostly just seeing our beauty and seeing how beloved we are, how much God loves us no matter what. So that's my definition of an authentic self. So my title, How to Be Your Authentic Self in a Difficult Relationship, is all about how to really be on this journey toward our authentic self. I love the title of Michele Obama's book, Becoming, because we don't arrive at our authentic self. It's actually a journey, but we learn more about ourselves, and learning to have self-compassion and learning to have compassion for others is one of my definitions for an authentic self, and knowing that we are deeply loved no matter what. So let's proceed from here. Do you remember that when you set up your Facebook profile, that there's a drop-down box, and you can choose like what kind of relationship, if you are in a relationship, whether you're single or whether you're engaged or whether you're married or divorced or widowed. But there's a choice that says it's complicated. How many people have you seen where under relationships it says it's complicated? That's because it really is. And relationships are complicated because we as human beings are complicated beings. There's an ancient Hebrew proverb that says, counsel in the heart of a man is like deep water, but a man of understanding will draw it out. That's in Proverbs. And that's why I love being a counselor. I love being able to accept the mystery of another human being and drawing out things that perhaps they didn't know before. And I've learned and seen in my office and in my own life how that difficulty can actually give us clues and help us to get to our authentic self. So I talk about 3 revelations that we can get if we were to see our difficulties in our relationships that can enhance our authentic self. One is, when we're in conflict, it reveals our values. We don't know our values until we're in the midst of difficulty or in the midst of a conflict, and we get triggered. A very surfacey example of this might be one person wants to socialize on weekends. That might be a value for them to be around people, and they might be extroverts, whereas the other person, their idea is just hanging out at the house or sitting and watching Netflix TV and just the comfort. So we can learn about our values and be more clear about values when we face the difficulties in our relationship. The second one, not only our values, but it reveals our vulnerability. Golly, who wants to be vulnerable? Most of us avoid it, right? We're fearful that our partner is going to use our weakness against us. And likely we have been vulnerable in the past and someone has judged us. I've got to tell you, in a real sense here, as I'm meeting with you right now, it's kind of vulnerable to do this. In my writing of Beyond Messy Relationships, it is a memoir, and therapists usually don't talk about their personal lives, but it was scary for me. It's probably going to be very scary when it does come out, and which the pub date is September. And but Brene Brown, she's given us some wonderful instruction. I love her book, The Gifts of Imperfection. We're all imperfect human beings. We all struggle. And if we could just be vulnerable and and be on this journey to our authentic selves. That really is something that widens our perspective. But so difficult relationships, they reveal our values, they reveal our vulnerability, and they reveal our vices, the 3 V's. You like that? Values, vulnerability, and vices. And I've learned a lot about myself, certainly in my years of counseling couples and in my own life. And then I see really plain and clear what a lot of people don't have the privilege of seeing. But most people who come in for couples counseling, they're real clear about their partner's flaws, but they're really blinded to their own. When I was a little younger and I was memorizing Bible verses, and the verse about casting the beam out of your own eye, and instead of trying to cast the splinter out of your neighbor's eye, I couldn't quite understand that. But you know what? The older I get, I see the truth of it, and it is very true. So let's get out of our it's complicated relationship status and allow those difficulties to be perhaps just opportunities to show us our authentic selves. Because if we know what our vices are, we can grow our character, right? We can accept our humanity. And but the 3 things, of course, let me reveal our values, our vulnerability, and our vices to give us opportunity to grow and become more aware and grow our character. I'm Judy Herman, counselor, speaker, and author of Beyond Messy Relationships, Divine Invitations to Your Authentic Self. I would absolutely love to stay in touch with you, and you can sign up for free bonuses, which I still need to create, and then also pre-orders for my book on messy relationships. Just go to messyrelationships.com. But if you have a podcast, actually, I'd love to be your guest if your podcast is if we're a good fit for each other. And then I would also like for you to go on my media page to judycounselor.com. And then also if you need a speaker for your event, I would love to get this message out. Now that's the end of what I was going to say, but I do want to pay attention because I'm trying to manage when people watch, and I want to first of all thank you so much for joining me live, because that's really cool. But if you have a question or a comment, I mean, if anybody wants to talk about what their idea of a difficult relationship is, or even what their takeaway is from one of these three things that I've talked about, and I'm actually looking on my my other feed to see if anybody has commented. But if nobody has any comments, I will say goodbye. But I want to tell you, thank you so much for joining me, and it's been a pleasure. But please stay in touch and sign up and stay in touch with me, and let me know how you like this, or if it can help somebody else. All right, thanks so much. Appreciate you. Bye-bye.